Well, good morning, everybody. Rick Nappi here, and it's 43 degrees, 7 a.m. in sunny Florida. Hopefully to warm up a little bit more today. And for those of you that come here often, salute, my happy shake, benefits whole body shake, which I take every single morning. So if you allow me to indulge. I'll tell you, woo, that really does it. So I hope everybody's well this morning. And, I came to realize this, that, although a lot of people know me and a lot of people use what I make to stay healthy, there's a lot of new faces around here that don't actually know who I am. So I got an interesting question yesterday. And so I thought that maybe it's good for me to give a little background here and tell you my story of my life a little bit, which could pertain to your life, because yesterday we were talking about, making a plan and sticking to it and facing challenges and all those things that go with that, with losing weight. And you got to be in for the long game. Well, so this relates actually to that long game as well. It happened to be my long game, and why I actually made benefits or any other product that I've actually made. But and look, I realize it's the internet, so anybody with an internet connection can get on here and say whatever they want. But are they really qualified? Do they really know what they're talking about? Do they really know what they're doing? Are they giving you good advice? And this is all fair. It's very, very fair. So I got an interesting question yesterday, which was, gee, what do all those initials next to your name mean? Well, so let's start with that, all right? The ND stands for naturopathic doctor, so I'm a naturopathic doctor. The DIHOM are my degrees in homeopathic medicine. And the FBIH, with FBI, but it has an H on the end. FBIH means this: Fellowship for Life with the British Institute of Homeopathy, having met the standards of excellence and demonstrated the commitment to the healing art of homeopathic medicine required by the Council, was worthy to receive the distinction of the title Fellow with all rights, honors, and privileges pertaining therein. So I'm a fellow because of my excellence above and beyond standards. Now, so how'd this all happen? Well, that's me. So look, I just didn't show up here like a week ago and decide that I'm going to be doing this. You know what I mean? Of course. To the left of the screen there, right over here, what you're seeing is that's a young Ricky. So I've been mixing formulas together for quite some time. I mean, that's a long time ago. And it's, I don't know, I dug that one up, you know what I mean? And it's just there. But so I didn't start last week. I started a long time ago. And it's been a heck of a journey, and so that's what it came about way long ago, and I'll tell you about why. Now, my mentor was Dr. Trevor Cooke, and if you look at his credentials, I mean, BS in Chemistry, University of London, MS Organic Chemistry, University of London, PhD Organic Chemistry and Pharmacology, University of London, Diplomat Homeopathic Medicine, Hahnemann College, London, Doctorate of Homeopathic Medicine, Hahnemann College, London. Now, I'm going to skip that one. Fields of Specialization, Chemistry, Pharmacology, Homeopathy, Director of the British Institute of Homeopathy, Dean, Hahnemann College of Homeopathy, London. And he's the former CEO of Delosis America homeopathic pharmaceutical company, and if you know who Delosis is, they're the largest manufacturer of homeopathic medicine. So pretty impressive. But I'll tell you what else was really impressive. This was a fascinating man to be mentored by. He was appointed the royal warrant holder to Queen Elizabeth II and the Queen Mother. So, as you can see, you know, I had the best of the best training from some of the best homeopathic doctors in the world. And so that was pretty cool. So just to let you know, a long time ago, and you know, I literally never stopped. So where did this all begin? What gave me an interest to even want to do this in my life? Well, when I was younger, a lot younger, when I was a kid, I had this uncle, and we used to call him the Big Bear, a big teddy bear, because he was big. He was like 6'2". He was, you know, big. The funniest guy in the world, the nicest guy in the world, and he was married to my mother's sister. And he actually drove a bus on the B line in New York, if anybody knows what that is, even if it exists anymore, I'm not sure. But and they had this dream. Once he retired, they were going to move to Florida and enjoy their forever vacation. Well, as that table approached and he was ready to retire, all of a sudden he got a call, and he was asked to come down to the doctor, and he was told that he had cancer. Well, you know, this is way back. You know, this is like in the 70s, right? And so he ended up in the hospital very quickly, and I went to the hospital to visit with my mom and a couple of people, I think, can't remember, and I walked in, and that big, burly, funny guy was a toothpick laying in a bed, a literal toothpick like this. Not really cognitive, doing the best he can to even try to breathe. And shortly after that, he passed away. So he never got to see the dream of his forever vacation in sunny Florida. And of course, my aunt was then left by herself. So, you know, when I left that room, it left a great impact on me. And I just said, this is horrible. One, it's my uncle and I love him very much. And two, people shouldn't have to suffer like this. So this is what made me actually start doing all this stuff. And I didn't know if I'd have a cure for cancer, but I certainly wanted to prevent people from getting ill and sick and dying that way in a hospital bed with tubes in every orifice. And so it really resonated with me. So I started it long time ago, and just didn't show up on the scene last week. So I just wanted people to know that little history. So as life went on, of course, you know, I made strides, and I garnered a list of celebrities that I was the doctor for, pro ball players, athletes, Olympic stars, regular people. I remember when the AIDS epidemic hit New York City in the 80s. I was on the scene there. I was one of the first that wasn't looking at these people as if they were lepers, and actually trying to comfort them and try to do whatever I can to make sure that they had a more of a comfortable life. And because in those early stages, of course, of the AIDS epidemic, there really wasn't any cure or anything. So it was really just, you know, life management and trying to make people comfortable. Now, of course, it's a plethora of cocktails that keep people going strong. So I took it all very, very seriously. I've never walked away from what I do, because this is all I know. This is what I've done my whole life. And then I started manufacturing formulas, because I was very disappointed with the lack of what was out there in the market. And many of the things that were out there in the market were actually junk. And people were being deceived and basically ripped off. So I basically became a consumer advocate on behalf of the public to expose these frauds, rip-offs, snake oils, all that sort of stuff in a highly competitive market, in a market over-inundated with junk and miracles, false miracles and all those sort of things. So that consumed a lot of my time. I had a radio show in New York that I would use called the Nappi Report on New York's Great at 1050, WEVD. And I would expose these rip-offs, and I would lecture all over the world about rip-offs, about health, about all these other things, and give classes, and of course maintain a patient schedule. And then as I was manufacturing, I started to build a reputation in manufacturing because I decided that if I'm going to actually manufacture, since I can't find anything out there, I need to make something that's real, that people can really depend on, that they can really know that whatever you're saying is in that bottle is in that bottle, whatever you say it's going to do, it will do. And because, when it comes to health, time is of the essence. You really don't want to put things off because, as I said earlier, by the way, everyone that, because I did ask this question of everyone a couple days ago, which was, what's the number one cause of premature death in America? And of course, I got a lot of people chimed in, and I thank you very much. Heart disease, diabetes, obesity. One person even said abortion. But so the list went on and on and on. And they're all absolutely right. However, it's not. None of those are the number one cause of premature death in America. Those are all symptoms of the number one killer and cause of premature death, which is procrastination. If you procrastinate in regards to your own health, you will die sooner than later. You will become afflicted. You will have maladies. You will not live a life that is filled with joy, movement, and variety. And you won't be living optimally. So, and I see that just this whole week, of course, we've all been, mourning the death of, the passing of President Bush. And the man was 94 years old. So look at that. I mean, this prescribed death at 65 or 55 or 70 is ridiculous. I mean, if you really take care of yourself, if you really take proactive measures, you can truly live a long, healthy life and a fruitful life. So, with that said, I started a long, long time ago. I've been trained by some of the best in the world. When I started to manufacture, I made a promise to myself that I would only make things that were stellar and the finest raw materials, and all manufactured right here in the USA. As a matter of fact, my reputation grew so well in the industry that competing laboratories would even contact me and ask me if I can make products for them, which I did. And then other people would come to me and ask me to make products for them. So, I mean, my products have gone the scale of, Whole Foods to up and down the line. I don't even know where, but, because that was my job, was just to make good stuff. And then I had my own signature line, which is things that I personally use myself. So, and no difference from whatever I made from anybody else in the aspect of quality. Well, and so anyway, I'm moving along and everything's fantastic and life is good and, I'm really happy. And, well, and then all of a sudden, like I said, life takes its twists, and what we're aware of we can address. What we're not aware of, we're not aware of. We just don't know. So now Rick Nappi then becomes an adult. I actually got married one time. I'm not married now, but I got married one time. And then, I went for my annual executive physical because part of my insurance demands because of certain contracts I have with different people and clients, and especially when I'm manufacturing. You know, if I get hit by a bus or something, they want to know that the show still goes on and that my formulas are all intact and that they'll still be available. And yes, my formulas are in a vault, and if I demise, the show still goes on and everybody will still be able to get the things that I've created. And I hope that I make a significant impact. Some of the things, I wrote the gold standard on antioxidant ORAC values with the USDA and the patent holders of ORAC testing, just so that, because people going wild with ORACs and just saying anything, and it just didn't make sense. So there had to be a dialogue, there had to be a protocol to follow which substantiates what a ORAC value is, which is oxygen radical absorption capacity, and now known as antioxidants. Well, I know a lot about those because I wrote the gold standard for that. And then, life takes its twist. Let me get rid of this here. So that's Rick Nappi when he was young. So I've been doing this a long time, trained by the best. It was a real honor to be able to manufacture products for other competing laboratories and be able to do what they couldn't do. Some of these labs are like 90 years old. They've been around a long time. So it was to me, it was a humbling experience. So what else was there? I was great. I lived on a mountain right next to a ski resort. Life was good. Well, the marriage didn't work out so well. That was not so nice. And I went for my executive physical, and also, I was going through, I thought something was wrong. I thought not wrong with me. I was fine, but I was under a lot of stress because this marriage thing just wasn't working out. This person was not was disingenuous. Let's put it that way. So I actually, it was a 2-for-1. I went to the doctor because I said, look, it's time for my executive physical. And also, I think I'm being poisoned. I thought my ex-wife was poisoning me. And I'm not paranoid, but I really, after a meal I would vomit, and I'm like, this is weird. This has never happened to me before. And this is, so I was concerned. And anyway, they did all these tests and all this stuff. I did my executive physical, everything like that. And anyway, so I leave. I feel, okay, we'll find out. Until then, I'm not going to eat any food that she makes. So, and that's why I became a pretty good cook, by the way. But I got a call from the doctor. He said, look, you got to come in. I got to talk to you. Well, as a doctor, I know that's not a good phone call, because it means something that they don't want to tell you over the phone just in case you fall apart. They want you to be there in case you need some counseling. So anyway, I went back to the physician, and so he said to me, look, he said, you're as healthy as an ox. Everything's in check. You almost break the treadmill machine, on the cardiovascular. And he says, because you don't seem to rev up your heart. I mean, it's like they thought I was a marathon runner, which I wasn't. But then he said, but the bad news is, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I have AIDS? I have HIV? No, thank God. He said, you have Hep C, hepatitis C. And I said, what? What the heck? And now, at that point, no one really knew what hepatitis C was. So I was kind of in the dark myself, to be honest with you. It wasn't the focus of anything that I was doing. I mean, of course, I knew what hepatitis A and hepatitis B was and all that sort of mononucleosis, but Hep C. So I didn't really know anything about it. And so then they started talking to me about, what's happening, and that the Hep C will create a cirrhosis of the liver. Now, I never drank or anything like that. No, and I wasn't an IV drug user. I didn't have any tattoos. I can only remember a blood transfusion when I was very young, when I cut my hand at one point pretty bad, severely. And so hepatitis C is not a sexually transmitted disease. It's a blood-borne disease, so it has to be from blood to blood contact, which can happen when you're an IV drug user, if you get tattoos and that equipment is not sterile, and anytime you might come in contact with blood. Well, so I was pretty shocked. I was pretty devastated, and now I go home, and now I try to find out what I'm going to do. So back then, there was no treatment for hepatitis C. In my case, my DNA was RNA 1A, which was the strongest strain of hepatitis C that they had ever seen. And the good news is I was in great shape. However, one doesn't know how long this is in your body and how long it stays in your body, where the inception was, how it came about. All they can determine is pretty much what shape you're in or what shape your liver's in, because this is a cell that hides in the liver, and then it replicates itself and sends out those replications throughout your body. And it creates cirrhosis of the liver, scarring tissue around the liver, because that's a way that it protects itself from anything or anybody or antibodies from getting in and destroying it. Pretty strong thing. So the only treatment that came about was pegylated interferon, which is a cancer drug. And the treatment course was actually 52 weeks. And you'd have to be taking these injections all the time, and pretty much you'd be in bed all the time, and you really wouldn't have a functioning life. So, now mind you, this is 2005 when I found this out. So there was nothing on the chart for quite some time, and I just this pegylated interferon that came on down the road. Now I had the best specialists, Mayo Clinic, Sylvester Cancer Center, John Hopkins, you name it. I had the best of the best. I had access to the best. And they were all pleading with me, please, you've got to do something, you've got to do something, you're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die. Well, when you hear that over and over and over again, you say to yourself, man, I don't want to hear this kind of stuff. You're going to die, you're going to die, you're going to die. So when you're confronted with this idea that you're actually going to die, I'll tell you, it really changes your perspective on life. What are you going to do? Do you panic? Do you cry? Do you get mad? And I think a little bit of all of those things happened to me. I said, wow, I lived a pretty clean life. I eat well. I take care of myself. I prescribe to the same things that I teach people to do. And this is just not fair. Well, not everything in life is fair. Sometimes we have to look for the balance. So anyway, in my case, this pegylated interferon was the success rate. In my case, for RNA 1A, was like 25% success rate. Well, but this was a horrible drug that would do horrible things to the rest of your organs, and you'll have permanent other maladies that come about from it. So maybe and only a 25% chance of success. Well, that leaves 75% to risk. A whole year of your life gone. Permanent damage to other organs and systems in your body. So I was posed with this question: do you die, or do you give this a shot? And in my case, I couldn't. I just felt that the risk reward was not there for me. 25%, which would mean that it's more like 15% in reality. So I decided that I'm not going to do it. And so you're looking at this healthy guy right now that was actually near death. I didn't take that treatment. And so this is what happens. Bam. I end up in stage 3, end-stage liver disease. The experts say it's time for you to prepare yourself for a liver transplant or you're going to die. So my liver was failing. Everything else was starting to fail. And there was no treatment except this pegylated interferon. So you ask yourself that question, what do I do? Do I want to spend my last days in that hospital bed there with tubes in every orifice, just like my uncle? It was a revisit of my own uncle. That's where I was. And I was getting ready to die. Well, I get out of the hospital. I decided that I was going to be like a dog, and I would just rather go out into the woods and sit down under a tree and look at the leaves and the sky and the clouds and the stars and just go away peacefully. And so, of course, I threw a pity party for myself. And I'm sorry. It's pretty personal, and I don't really share this very often, so it's a little tough. But after my pity party, after crying, after anger, after breaking trees, I got up and I prayed. And after I prayed, I stood up tall and I said, I'll be damned. And I said, okay, here's the real question, Rick. How good are you? How good are you? You've dedicated your whole life to professing the word of health, to showing people how to become healthy, to tell people that they've got to fight. So what are you going to do? What kind of example are you for yourself now? Are you going to prescribe to your own mantra of you can do? Well, I got up and I just said, damn it, how good are you? And of course now my life is going to depend on it because the path I'm going to take has nothing to do with pegylated interferon or specialists. It's my own path. And since I'm going to die anyway, I might as well choose my own path. And I think I have enough skill and knowledge, and I've been trained very well. It's a little more difficult when it's personal, when it's you and you're not as objective, but I was very fortunate to have a laboratory. And I was very fortunate to be able to utilize that laboratory, and manufacture my own products and things like that for other people. But now it was time for me to start mixing a formula up that would potentially save my life. At the best, kill that hepatitis C cell. That's at the best. At the worst, I wanted to at least be able to mitigate the destruction that it was doing to me. And hopefully that would sustain me until someday, somewhere, there would be a cure found. Well, I went into the laboratory. I spent hours and hours, sometimes almost without any sleep. I actually had a cot, and I would lay on the cot. And I was the most tested individual in the world. We had all the equipment, the HPLCs, the serology, all that sort of stuff, so I didn't have to wait for Quest labs or anything like that. And I would test myself almost every other day, and I'd start making little formulas and little configurations and to see what was happening. I had a viral load of over, 2,500,000. My AST and ALTs were off the charts. And when the AST and ALTs are off the charts, in other words, way above, that's where the cirrhosis is happening. That's where the damage is happening. My portals were very fragile, and I had to be careful of pressurization, so I couldn't work out for fear of bursting something. My ammonia was building up, so that would give you that brain fog. Well, I sat in that laboratory and worked through renditions for like a year. And I finally hit on something. and I noticed that my viral load was in check, and then I noticed that, and then I made some tweaks to it again, and then I noticed that my ASTs and ALTs were starting slowly to come down, and my viral load was slowly coming down, and I was feeling better. I was starting to have more energy, and I could think clearer, and so I kept tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. Well, so I went from that guy that you see in the hospital bed, waiting to be put on a liver transplant list. And look, the reason why I wasn't so excited about, some people say, well, that's great, you can get a new liver. Well, in reality, it's not great, because liver transplants, maybe they don't tell you this, but the average lifespan of someone with a liver transplant is about 5 years. And it's not a quality of life. You're on rejection drugs all the time, anti-rejection drugs all the time. You don't have a life, believe me. And there's one thing that I don't want. I don't want to be in this life if I'm not active in this life. I just don't want to be kept alive, just for the sake of being alive and be a burden to everybody. So I tweaked and tweaked and tweaked and tweaked. And I never stopped tweaking. Well, so we fast forward now. Remember, I told you this about the long game. So this is 13 years of me maintaining myself. I went from that hospital bed to the guy actually you see today. And I was strong. And every time I would check in with doctors, because every now and then I just check in with them for certain things that I wanted to know about through some testing that I couldn't do myself. When I'd walk in, they would just look at me like, ooh, like I was dead, like I was the walking dead, like I should be dead. And all the pleas from all these physicians that are contemporaries of mine that actually I know that have worked with me, the Mayo Clinic and all this stuff, they were pleading with me, please, you've got to do something, you've got to do something. So eventually, they said, how are you? I said, I'm making this stuff up, my own stuff, I'm formulating my own thing to try to mitigate all this stuff. And they just looked at me like, well, I don't know if you should, but the numbers don't lie, and your numbers are coming down, and you're maintaining, and there's no progression of the damage to your liver right now. So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So I just kept doing it, kept doing it. Well, then in but I was also watching all of the clinical trials over the years that were coming through the pipeline. A lot of them just died off. Finally, they came out with a couple things for Hep C that worked with other types of hepatitis C with different RNAs. RNA, like I was RNA 1A, so there's RNA 2A, C, whatever it is. Some strains are from Europe, some strains are from Africa, some strains are from America. But nothing came through the pipeline for me. For my particular one. So eventually I'm watching, and I'm taking this. So, just to give this to you, because really where we're coming to here is that, what I'm talking about over here is benefits. It wasn't called benefits when I was tweaking it and making it, but it became benefits because I looked at it as the greatest benefit that I could ever possibly have. It sustained me. It kept me alive. It kept everything from going forward. And that's why I firmly believe that if you guys get this into your body, it's not just for Hep C, but I mean, it can really synchronize your body once again, and it gives you great nutrition. And I guess the point I'm making here is I didn't come out of an egg yesterday. I didn't just show up on the internet. I've always been a pretty quiet guy. I work behind the scenes most of the time. But I mean, I don't want to see people die. And this is such a simple thing to do, to take a scoop of this out of a jar, put it in a magic bullet, mix it up, and just put it in your body. My life depended on me using this every single day when I was sick. And it kept me from getting sicker, and it actually made me healthier. And this is no different than what I was taking. In other words, I didn't dumb this down just to put it on the market. I put it on the market because all the specialists said, you know what? You need to get this out to the people because there's a lot of people that could use this, and it's all vegetarian. and it's got everything you need, and it really does a lot. So if it could take me, who was in this hospital bed right here, waiting for a liver transplant. By the way, my liver's great. It's of course, I'm still regenerating. There's still work to do, but golly, I'm sitting here every morning talking to you and doing a lot of other stuff and working a 40-acre farm. So think about that. That's why I call it benefits. Well, then all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but through this pipeline and these clinical trials and all this other stuff, finally, there was something that Gilead was working on. And the clinical trials looked pretty good. And it was specific to my RNA, DNA 1A, my RNA 1A. And the cure rate would be 99%. Well, now, and no injections, no debilitating side effects other than maybe a couple headaches and a little fatigue and stuff like that. Well, boy, oh boy, I was so excited about that. And by the way, I'll confess, I did order the pegylated interferon. It got to me. I sat there with it on a coffee table for like a week. I actually, after a week, took the syringe, opened it up, and got ready to inject myself, and I threw it across the room. I just couldn't put that poison in me. And I also knew that once you started a treatment like that, if you stopped it, then this hep C cell would hybrid, and it may be resistant to anything that could come down the pipeline later on. So anyway, Gilead's coming out with this new thing, and as soon as it got approved, I called my hepatologist and I said, "Hey, let's get on that new thing that's coming out from Gilead." And he said, "It's not out yet." I said, "Yeah, it was released today." He said, "How'd you know?" I said, "My life depends on knowing these things." So we worked on getting this, and the great part is it was only a little pill, and depending on who you are, anywhere from 8 to a 12-week treatment course. And I said, well, compared to 52 weeks and injections, this will be kind of a walk in the park for me. So I went for the 12-week only because I want to ensure that I would give it the best shot I could give it. And now the problem was this pill was like $1,500 to $2,000 per pill. Do the math. One pill a day for 12 weeks. That's a lot of money. So I had to sell a lot of stuff because thank you, Blue Cross Blue Shield. Appreciate you dropping my policy. That's very nice of you after years and years of paying premiums, and then all of a sudden got dropped. Wow. Well, anyway, it didn't matter, man. I'd sell my shoes to get a shot at this, which I did, pretty much. It hurt me deeply financially. So my focus was really on that. Well, it came out. It arrived. By the way, it's called Harvoni. Harvoni by Gilead. And boy, when that came and I couldn't wait to start, the next morning I started, I took my pill. And do you know, I walked 3 miles a day while I was on this treatment for 12 weeks. And after 4 weeks, I go to get tested, and they said, wow, your viral load is down to like 43. Your AST and ALTs are down in normal range. All my functions. Now, the whole time, I'm still taking benefits, right? Because I'm not going to stop that, because that's sustained me for the 11 years until this Gilead thing came out, right? And then they said to me, well, I think we're going to stop treatment because we'd like to see it, eradicated within the 4 weeks, or else it doesn't. I said, you're not going to stop anything. One, if we stop, it's going to hybrid, and then I'm screwed. Two, I'm not a quitter, and I'm not stopping, and I'm not. I mean, literally, it was kind of like almost like you want to grab this doctor and just throw him against the wall and say, listen, I'm not going down alone. You're going with me. So you make it happen. I had to get a patient advocate, and some attorneys to fight on my behalf, and then this was this guy I'm going to have a liver transplant. I'm near death, and you're going to tell me it's not. They're saying it's not a priority. And the reason why they didn't cover me was because they were sending my medical records to some jerk in the Philippines, and I have nothing against Philippine people, but I was paying American premiums, not Philippine premiums, and how dare you farm me offshore and my records offshore for some idiot that I don't have any idea what his credentials are to say, oh, it looks fine. When the Mayo Clinic and Sylvester Cancer Center and all the top specialists have said it's imperative that this guy, gets this treatment, or he's going to have, and he might still have to have a liver transplant. Amazing. So they tried to cut me off after the 4th week. Well, that wasn't going to happen. Then we get to the 8th week. In the 8th week, I'm cleared. Hep C dead, gone. And then they said, well, that's good. This guy's gone. 4 more weeks. We're doing the 12-week course. So I did another 4 weeks. Again, the result was the same. Cleared. Cured. Well, that's the good news. So I'm cured from hepatitis C. So what all of you have to know is that whatever you're suffering from, you can probably be cured. It's all about here, and you got to have a fighting spirit, and you got to want to be involved and engaged, and you have to say, God darn it, I'm going to do this. And what's my life worth? Because I think about my sister, and I think about the people that I love, and I think about leaving all of them and the sadness that I'm going to cause for that. What, just to lay down and die? Just to say, okay, hey, the easy way out, liver transplant? Isn't that amazing? The insurance company would pay for a liver transplant, but not a treatment that could save my life. Is that amazing? Boy, when you think about it. So now that I'm free and cured, by the way, since March of January, February, March, April, May of 2015, I've been cured. Now, cured is one thing, but, cured is one thing, but what is there to do after that? Well, there's a lot of work to be done after that, because now I have to regenerate my liver. So for the past 3 years now, since May of 2015, I started this farm, and my gym has actually been the farm, working the farm and building my strength up again. Of course, movement and exercise, the best gym in the world, best natured gym in the world, and being more at peace and reducing my stress levels, and also taking this still every single day, and I will take this until I die, because it saved my life when I had hepatitis C. It saved me from actually having to get a liver transplant. It saved me from getting sicker and iller. So if it can take a guy that's almost ready for a liver transplant, and you're not having issues with a liver transplant, then it should do wonders for you. So I take this every single day. So it's not a shtick. It's not a gimmick that I get on here and I take my glass and I drink it. No, I actually do this every single day, because without it, I won't heal as quickly. I won't regenerate as quickly. So if you have anything less than that, this is something you really need to take. So there's a couple things that to take away from this, all right? I'm a healthy guy now. I'm healthier than I've ever been. I feel so blessed, and God has been very good to me. And my struggle now is to make everyone here realize, and anywhere I go, that you're in for the long haul, the long game, and you really have to commit yourself to being healthy. Because, understand this, I had no idea that I had hepatitis C. So, just like me, you all have something in you that you're not aware of, that's not detectable yet, maybe even, that's working on your body. This is just the way life goes. So, even if you don't know, it's best to have something in here that's going to keep a lot of that in check. This is a preventive thing, man. This is something you get ahead of the curve with. Don't wait until you have a malady. Don't wait until you get the news like I got the news. All right? And it's not that I would wait, but it's just that I had no idea that I had that. And this was a serious thing. So if you have joint pains, if you have inflammation, if you have arthritic conditions, if you have immune problems, if you have digestive problems, if all of these things add up to something's coming down the pipeline. And cancer, I live every day because, because after Hep C, you have an increased incidence of the liver cancer, right? Well, so I have to keep my liver in check still to this day, and so should you, because it's the largest filter you have. It started working before you were born, and it doesn't take a day off, because without that, everything you ingest would be poisonous. So what I'm saying to all of you is that you need something that you can trust. You need somebody that you can trust. There's millions and millions of products out there all saying the same crap, that it's a miracle, it's this and that. Well, look, I just gave you my history. I'm not some sales guy, some slick sales guy, not somebody who put together a slick, little, system or whatever it is. I'm someone that developed something to save my life. It saved my life. And now I'm sharing it with all of you that want to take advantage of this. Because believe me, if you don't, it's going to catch up with you sooner or later. Remember, the number one cause of premature death in America is procrastination. Do nothing, and it will catch up with you and kill you eventually, or cripple you. And is that what you want? No, I don't think so. Nobody wants that. I certainly don't want that for you. So I gave you this history today. I'm a pretty private person, but I gave you this because I feel it's so important for all of you to realize that your health is your greatest wealth. Without that, you have nothing. And if you're going to be arrogant and do nothing but abuse yourself over and over and over again until something breaks, and then you go, oh my God, what do I do? Isn't that sad? You'll only react when it's life-threatening or when you have no other choice. And then once you start feeling good again, you're going to, go back to the same old habits. Look, this is what happens with people that get surgery and get stents put in. What good is that? And what good are the statins? You think taking that pill or getting that operation, oh, now I can go back to eating greasy foods and all this other junk. Well, you can't, because the same thing's going to happen. Only now you got a stent in there for it to grab onto, which makes it even easier. So, really, self-responsibility is where it's at. I could tell you, I'll be honest, I thought I was going to die. But I said, I'm going to fight until the end, man. I'm not going to make it easy for everybody to say goodbye to me. I'm going to be a pain in the ass that sticks around. So the reason I'm doing this today, obviously, is one, just thinking about my uncle, watching the funeral of George W. Bush and reflecting on all that sort of stuff. And I said, gee, not everybody on here knows me, and it is the internet, so everybody's got some BS to talk about. Who's really an expert? Everybody with a cell phone or a camera today can do that stuff. Well, I've been around for a long, long time, for decades, been doing the same thing, trained by the best. Award after award after award I've received. And that I'm not boasting my own accolades. I'm just letting you know. Most people don't know who Rick Nappi is, N-D-D-I-H-O-M, F-B-I-H, on this new venue called Facebook and YouTube. But look, I've been here a long time on this planet. I'm well trained. I didn't come out of an egg yesterday. I've been doing this kind of stuff my whole life. That's all I've ever done. And I know that you'll get benefit from benefits. So I just encourage all of you this holiday season, you can buy socks or ties or things like that for people, but get a bottle of this. If not for yourself, and I recommend it for yourself, but get it for your loved ones. Because really, who's going to pay the price if something happens to you? Your loved ones. They're the ones that are going to be crying. Those are the ones that are going to be grieving. And I don't want that on anybody. I have all these nieces and nephews. I want to be around long enough to see them grow and do their thing, and then their children, and have grand nieces and nephews. And so, hey, I can go on, but this is a little histology conversation. It's just me and you guys, and so that's pretty much my story. I was near death, almost ready for a liver transplant, and I didn't beat the odds. I created better odds for myself by taking proactive measures. So I'm living proof that if you become proactive, your life, no matter where it's at, can really change. And I'm very sensitive about this, and I take it really personal. So I'm here for all of you that actually use benefits, and whatever I can do to help you, I'll do. But you've got to take proactive steps. And there are people that have been using my products, not just benefits, but even before I came out with benefits. I always, hybrid and bring it to the next level when technology allows me to. So, look, for $2 a day, it's a pretty small price to pay to ensure that you're getting the proper nutrition that you need without all that volume. Anyway, I thank you for allowing me to come into your living room, your bedroom, your bathroom, wherever you are. And my dream my real dream is that all of you never have to go through what I went through. And that all of you stay as healthy as possible. And I'm just here to try to give you that advantage. And if you take me up on it, I guarantee you will not be disappointed. So listen, it's Happy Friday. Let's have a great weekend, and I'll see you all on Monday. And I hope I didn't bore everybody to death. God bless you. I love all of you. I love my family. Hey, take me up on it while I'm still around. All right? Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Like I said, have a great weekend. And become proactive. Don't wait. For your sake, for your family's sake, for your loved one's sake, buy this bottle for your mother, your brother, your father, your sisters, for everybody you can, because believe me, it can save lives and it can keep people healthier. And there's a lot of people that are using it that'll testify to that. I don't use these people to make testimonials. I don't do that kind of stuff. I believe in people's privacy. So look, I'll see you Monday. I don't know what I'm going to come up with on Monday, but hopefully it'll be something that gives you value. And remember, share. Comment, whatever it is, hearts, all that kind of stuff. And share this. You're on the internet right now. Just click a few buttons and share it with as many people as you can and get this message out. The message is not really so much benefits. The message is you're in for the long game, that whatever you're struggling with, whatever you're suffering from, it can be turned around. You can turn it around. And remember that your health is your greatest wealth. Without that, you have nothing else. Hey, I'll be playing tennis at 95. I may look like crap, but playing tennis at 95 looking like crap is better than looking great in a wheelchair. All right, everybody. God bless. Have a good weekend. And thanks again for trusting in me. Bye-bye now.